Hey guys, today on my YouTube channel, we are going to be recording a raw episode of this podcast. I run and I host the podcast, All Things Love and Intimacy. It's available on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. I am a certified sex therapy informed professional. I am a Gottman level 2 trained marriage specialist. I'm licensed as a marriage and family therapist in multiple states, and I'm a relationship coach. So I specialize in coaching to help couples break cycles of sexual avoidance, withdrawal, loneliness, and bridge through issues like emotional disconnection and have a safe place to not only talk about emotions and gain emotional attunement and empathy skills, but also I give couples a safe place to talk about sexual desires, kinks, fantasies, needs, boundaries, expectations. A lot of times we don't get a safe place to talk about sex. So if you and your partner or partners are looking to get started rebuilding both emotional intimacy and sexual passion, you can start with me by heading over to wisdomwithinct.com. That's wisdomwithinct.com. This YouTube recording is going to be the back end of me recording a raw podcast. So there may be some few moments or few seconds of pauses as I'm editing. But it's kind of fun for you guys to see the back end of me creating this content. And today we're going to be talking about when a long-term relationship gets rough. So we have high moments and low moments. So I just did the intro for my podcast. You're going to see me hit record. I have one of my dogs sitting on my lap here. So I hope you enjoy this back end, this like organic. You're going to see me as a real human figuring out tech stuff sometimes. I can support people in building emotional and sexual connection, but sometimes the technology side of recording a podcast is kind of tougher. So you'll see some of that, but I just want you to be able to hear what I'm saying with that visual of the video too. So just bear with me as I get the podcast started. So today's podcast is all about navigating rough waters. So in a long-term relationship, we have really amazing moments. These are your best memories. These are the things that you're posting on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. You are so excited to share the highlights of your relationship with your social circle and with the world. You might take a photo for a Christmas card or a Hanukkah card or a holiday card and send it out to people. And that process is like so exciting. It's these really wonderful things. You may have a great time on vacation. You may cook a recipe for a holiday or a family dinner, and that tradition is like so wonderful to carry on. And we have highs in a relationship where things feel super good, things feel easy, life isn't too stressful, and then we have lows, right? We have the low moments of a long-term relationship, and so those are the rough waters. That's when it's stormy, there's lightning, there's thunder, we're in the middle of a hurricane. The relational house that Gottman, you can look it up, there's a relationship house, but the relational house is being shaked, right? You're getting shaken around. There's a lot of, turbulence on the airplane of your relationship. And those moments, we really want to bond together and come together during those times. And it can be really hard because these are the moments where I see couples separating the most or getting in the most misunderstandings. So sometimes we can have low moments, like on every time or every instance where you guys are getting into a conflict. So sometimes we see this in an avoidant cycle where one person will withdraw and emotionally stonewall and like pull away, and just whether it's feeling overwhelmed, like they're going to say the wrong thing, or not knowing how to embrace vulnerability, or not knowing how to navigate or like communicate emotions for that deeper connection. Whatever the reason is, the emotional withdrawal, the avoidance cycle, the pulling away is incredibly damaging, and that can lead to a more severe low moment. And so you might really struggle to effectively communicate. There might be, on the opposite side of avoiding, there might be yelling, screaming, door slamming, calling names, really mean, cruel tactics when you're both triggered. And this creates a major challenge. It's one of the low moments of your relationship. Also, too, when we look at low moments, we have losses and grief experiences. So unexpected losses like losing a relative, losing a grandparent, loss of a parent, loss of a child, loss of a pet. These are devastating. They are terrible. They are so, so sad. It's important to take time off of work to really heal, to really practice self-care, to turn towards each other, to cry together, to be there for each other, to really sob, to just let out that pain. And so, an element of your relationship is coping with loss and grief. And it's so incredibly sad, but you can be present for each other. You can remain in connection during loss and grief. Sometimes too, we have past histories of sexual trauma, and then something will re-trigger that, and going through that flashback experience, or having a panic attack, and expressing your needs to your partner, or having being there so attuned to your partner who might be having a panic attack, can be a wonderful way to navigate the rough, challenging experiences that you're going through in your long-term relationship. So another big devastating experience, or another rough patch, would be a career change. One person going back to school, realizing that the job that they're in, or the profession they found themselves in, is not fulfilling, maybe is causing depression, is leading to a lack of passion, lack of excitement. And so there's this loss of identity, and that can put financial strain on the family. Maybe one person is choosing to go back to school for a different career, or changing jobs entirely, meaning they're starting at the bottom again. They're maybe in a different, they were at a high earning job and now they're going to a low earning job because they're at the bottom. Or just going back to school adds more challenges to quality time together. As well, too, we may have like unemployment, or one person gets fired, or, furloughed, and there's this loss around that and financial strain. So career changes can be a massive rough patch in your long-term relationship. And it's important to know that you can stay strong in your bond and navigate these rough patches as a team. We're avoiding blame, we're avoiding criticism, we're really taking that team approach. We're in this together and staying playful. But I just really want to speak to that. A career is a huge part of an identity. We also have medical things. So, getting pregnant, feeling nauseous, incredibly nauseous, can be a rough thing. We also have wanting to have a child but not being able to, being infertile, being told that IVF is not working. And there is this deep pain and challenge faced in wanting to have a child but not getting pregnant in the time span that you're hoping to. As well, after we have, postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety that's often overlooked, and we don't get enough education on that in our society. And so if you have a partner that's experiencing postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety, or you yourself are experiencing these, that can be a rough patch for your relationship, because we just don't receive enough education on how to support partners, how to be effective as a couple, how the responsibilities have to get delegated, what mental health means for a new mother, for a new father, for a new parent. So I just want to kind of name some of these so you guys can understand when I talk about rough waters, what that might look like. We also have external stressors. So let's just say there's some in-laws that you're dealing with that are, quote unquote crazy, or in-laws that are maybe not abiding by boundaries that you'd like. Or let's just say you're trying to have a quiet morning and they show up at your house unannounced. Or maybe they're, really intrusive in certain areas of your relationship, or you feel like maybe your spouse has a stronger bond with one of their parents and you feel a little bit resentful due to past hurts related to that. Excuse me. So there are a lot of pieces to family stressors. Maybe you have adult children and you are a mature couple, and your adult children are now getting married or having children of their own, but there's a part of you that's like disapproving of the partner they've chosen for their life. So your adult child has decided to get married to someone, but you don't really see that partner that they've chosen as like the ideal partner for them. So you have kind of some feelings about that is hindering your relationship with your adult child. throughout the entire lifespan, there can be challenges with family members. Maybe you're also dealing with a family estrangement. One of your adult children has cut you out or has decided that they no longer want a relationship with you. That can really affect connection and intimacy in your marriage. So there are all these ripple effects. Having a sibling who has alcoholism or substance abuse issues can be incredibly taxing on your marital bond. You may not realize it, but that is a huge external stressor. And family issues like this can put a major damper or blockage on the emotional connection that you and your spouse have, you in your own long-term relationship. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some effective ways to navigate these rough patches and to stay strong as a team. So one is to think about your relationship as its own entity. You have a strong and healthy couple bubble. So your couple bubble is this invisible boundary around you and your partner. You and your partner are both contributing and co-creating this couple bubble. And your couple bubble can be really strong, like steel and like metal, and nothing can pop it based on emotional vulnerability techniques and bonding techniques. And your couple bubble can also get thinner, weaker, and very easily pop over time if you don't improve your relationship and don't focus attention and energy on creating a strong long-term relationship. And so that's where we start to see things like infidelity, emotional cheating, and sexual cheating. So I want you to think about your couple bubble and the things that help you feel really secure, reassured, like you matter. They help you feel important. They help you feel significant. And I want you to communicate these to your partner in great detail. The things that help you feel excited, playful, intimate, valued, respected may be different than the things that help your partner feel respected, special, important, and significant by you. So really want to understand what helps you both feel loved. So, you may really enjoy when your partner praises you and gives you words of affirmation, like, hey, like, thank you so much for doing the dishes, that was so awesome, or thank you for starting the washing machine, I'd been intending to do that, but I didn't get to it. And when you hear that, it's just like, yeah, like you may have not gotten a lot of praise growing up. And so when your partner is proud of you and appreciates you and expresses that gratitude, that's like, yeah, that feels so good, I feel so loved. Your partner, may really enjoy physical touch. So you gently touching their low back or reaching for their hand or giving them head scratches or gently rubbing their back, like before going to bed, that touch has that same feeling for them. So through your gentle caressing touch and your soothing touch, your partner feels respected, loved, like they matter, special, like you're proud of them, right? So we all have different ways that we like to be loved. So I want you to start to open up this conversation. And I really want you guys to start to have this beautiful dialogue because it supports trust building. It supports this ability to co-create a strong, healthy relationship and this energy of your couple bubble. So your couple bubble is both of you bringing your best selves to your relationship, and you're co-creating this organism that's growing, this garden that's growing. You're constantly adding and maintaining and discovering new things and bringing this beautiful, curious mindset to your relationship. So think about that couple bubble and start to openly communicate about what you need. Now, there are going to be rough waters. So I want you to think about your long-term relationship as you are going to expect. We're going to set the expectation that there will be rough times. It can feel so exciting, like for a young couple planning a wedding, it can be so exciting and we're building this beautiful life together. But I want you to really expect that there will be rough times, right? The moment that fun photograph is done being posted on Facebook, there may be a rough patch immediately after or immediately before. So I want you to go into a long-term relationship thinking about commitment as you're committing to each other through the most difficult times. So when your partner's not the best, when you're not your best, you're going to try to grow on an individual level and you're going to try to grow that couple bubble. So don't expect your marriage or your relationship or your sex life to look like a Hollywood movie, to look like a rom-com, don't expect your sex life to look like a pornography video. Don't expect any of these things. Expect challenges. Expect them, and then you can be mentally prepared for them by practicing really good self-care. So you're going to bring your most grounded, centered, wise mind to these challenges to team up against them. When you are dealing with rough patches, one big thing that I want you to focus on is having quality time together. So this means having 1 hour set aside every week for non-negotiable couple bubble time. This could be back rubs where you're both giving and receiving back rubs. This could be taking a walk together in your local park or in your neighborhood. Navigating rough patches means teaming up and ensuring and prioritizing time for you two alone together, without the kids, without going to your niece's or nephew's birthday party, not going to a friend's wedding, we're not going to a social event at a local restaurant, we're not going to trivia night, we're not doing anything with anyone else except just you two for your couple bubble to strengthen your bond. And this might mean saying no to other invitations, because it can be so easy to say yes to everyone. The neighbor's having a block party. Okay, we'll go. Or so-and-so wants us to come here. It can feel good to be wanted. Or so-and-so wants me to help them with their garden, or wants me to help them with their house, or help them. I love being helpful, but you might need to say no to helping other people so that you can actually strengthen your couple bubble. So it's okay to say no so that you and your partner can create quality time together, and you can prioritize spending quality time together as a couple, which nurtures your couple bubble and your connection. You can create new memories. You can go on breakfast dates. You can go on dinner dates. You can practice having shared hobbies. Maybe it's, planting some tomato plants together, or it's doing a woodworking project, or doing photography, or something that's a shared hobby that, maybe you both like going to a yoga class together or a dance class. Really, you're going to practice enjoying each other's company, even though there is something deeply intense going on in another area of your relationship. So when you're in a rough patch, when you're going through those stormy waters, make sure to have quality time together. Now, another piece of navigating rough waters in your relationship, especially for long-term couples, is to not only have this beautiful couple bubble time, but to practice taking care of yourself. So if you are staying up late, really spending hours on your phone every day, numbing out with alcohol, drugs, gambling, whether that's in a casino or online gambling, if you are disassociating from the present moment, if you are really kind of trying to escape, numb out, if you're, engaging in a behavior with the intention of not feeling what you're feeling, that's not great self-care. It doesn't help us bring our best self to the relationship. So I really want you to consider and take an assessment of what you're doing to have your own identity, because we all need our own identity in addition to that couple bubble identity. So, what do you like to do for fun when you have a day off? I personally like to paint a little bit. I like to paint, not massive things, but just like paint. Painting is really relaxing for me. I'll listen to a podcast or listen to my favorite musician and paint. I paint flowers or paint swirls or whatever, and it's relaxing for me. That's healthy. I also like to read. That's something I like to do if I don't want to do something as physical. Reading a novel, reading a history book, reading something from your favorite author, right? Hobbies are very essential for each individual person. I also think it's important to have a physical outlet. So a hobby or something you do a couple times a week that allows your body to move. So reading can be great, but I also want you to do something that's exercise oriented or gets your heart rate up above that 100 beats a minute. You could do pickleball, line dancing, yoga, jogging, train for a 5K, go golf. I don't know if golf really gets your heart rate up that much, but, play basketball in the local courts, enjoy hiking, go on a local hiking trail, Go for a walk in a local rose garden, go swimming, find a local pool in your area and join a pool, a YMCA or YWCA, and get a pool membership and swim some laps, or, really think about how you can take care of your physical body, the home that you're in. If you really want to have social connection too, join a small group fitness class, go to a local gym and get a personal trainer. Getting a personal trainer isn't just about your body. It's about having someone to talk to about what's going on in life as you're working out, and it really, learning about how your body works. So physical exercise, vinyasa flow yoga, whatever it may be, is really important for you to bring your best mind, body, and spirit to the relationship so that you can have a full bucket from which to give. Because if you're giving from a burnt out, empty bucket, you're not going to be able to bring your most mentally sharp self or mentally clear self to your relationship. You may actually instead be bringing frazzled energy, disconnected energy, a disconnected self. You might be putting so much on your partner and trying to make them do so much. There's this greater intimacy comes from intimacy with yourself, and from, practices, hobbies, things that help you really stress in a good way. You actually are building a long-term loving relationship with yourself too. And that's really essential. And that allows you to be more satisfied and fulfilled in your partnership as a result of your own self-care practices and your own individual interests. And then you can talk with your partner like, hey, I did this super fun thing. I'm really enjoying learning to play the harp, or I'm really enjoying learning to play the guitar, and I'm loving my guitar teacher, and I'm loving my vocal lessons, and my voice coach is just so awesome. And so it gives you content to bring to those conversations in your partnership. And so it's really, really important to have individual interests so that you can maintain feelings of connection in your marriage and in your long-term relationship. So when we look at rough waters, these are very difficult times. These are the low, very, very low moments in your relationship. I might even put infidelity in this category. So that is a betrayal, that is a hurt, and that is a relational injury. But I work a lot with couples that want to recover and repair together after infidelity, and it's totally possible. But I would say that's like a very, very rough water, right? That is a rough water that can make your boat flip over. And sometimes we're really essentially building a relationship from the ground up. So I want to speak to infidelity for just a moment. So when you and your partner want to stay together after infidelity, we're rebuilding trust entirely. So trust is built in small moments over time. It's like each of you putting 1 cent, 1 penny into a piggy bank that you share, and over time you've added up $1,000 in pennies over time. Little moments over time is how trust is built. And then when an infidelity experience occurs, a betrayal wound occurs, essentially that piggy bank gets smashed and all the money comes out of it. So in one moment, the entire energy of trust and all of this trust that you've built gets completely destroyed. And so it's devastating. It's like finding out your partner's cheating is like having a carpet pulled out from underneath you. And so there's shame, guilt, loss, pain, betrayal, hurt, right? And then now you both want to heal together. And so we're looking at rebuilding trust. And so navigating through this time of infidelity, and I'll definitely do a longer podcast on this topic in and of itself, but navigating through infidelity is an experience where you're both saying, I choose you again, and I want to bring my best self to this relationship, and I want to understand what you need more deeply, because there are oftentimes needs that were not being met, that were being ignored on both ends, and we need to atone, we need to apologize, we need to be able to talk about this openly, we need to navigate this rough patch from a place of understanding how trust is rebuilt. So you need to rediscover how to build trust, rediscover what commitment means, talk about this past hurt, And really, that is what recreates marriage number 2. So within your marriage, when there's infidelity, you can actually have multiple marriages within the same marriage. So, phase 1 is before the affair. Marriage number 2, what you're building from the ground up after infidelity, is this whole new chapter, this whole new era where you are both bringing a more mindful, intentional, purposeful self, creating a more mindful bond in your long-term partnership. You're bringing elements of really understanding yourself in a deeper way, knowing what your needs are, really understanding the concept of trust and how trust works and what we need for a marriage. We often don't learn how to have effective, healthy relationships growing up. We often don't see parents demonstrating emotional vulnerability or emotional expressiveness. If anything, we see dysfunctional family dynamics and painful family experiences. So I would put infidelity in the low moments of a relationship. So I want you to think of waves, right? You will have good times. When you are in a rough moment, I want you to be present in that rough moment, like feel that emotions that come in that moment. But I also want you to put something on the calendar for your couple bubble that you can look forward to. And I always recommend having a minimum 2-night couple bubble vacation. No kids, no family members, no one else, no friends, just you two, the couple bubble vacation once every 4 months. So 2 nights, once every 4 months, if not more frequently. So put a couple bubble vacation on the calendar for you two, so you can look forward to something. You can have something fun to plan for as you're navigating through this rough patch or this low moment, and looking forward to that vacation, 2 nights together, even if it's in a local hotel or camping at your local state park. It can strengthen your bond to have something to plan for, to have something to really get excited about. As well, when we look at navigating through the rough times in your relationship, maybe when things aren't going so well, I want you to keep touching each other. So it doesn't, maybe it's not feeling so great to have penetrative sex, but I want you to prioritize holding hands. I want you to hold hands every day. I want you to kiss every day. When I say kiss, I don't mean a quick little peck. I mean a good 1 to 2 minutes of making out, like, you matter to me, kiss. Like, I want you to remember this 20 minutes from now, kiss. I also want you to cuddle. Keep cuddling, spooning, resting your head on your partner's chest, however you like to cuddle and whatever feels good, like anatomically for your body. I want you to continue touching each other. Maybe it's taking time to shower together, take a bath together, and touch each other's bodies, give each other foot massages, back massages, wash each other's hair in the shower. Have time to touch, even though it's a rough time. Does not have to lead to sex, does not have to lead to that erotic connection necessarily. But I just want you to make sure to be affectionate. And that is soothing and comforting during a very rough time. So these were some support tips around navigating rough waters. Just know that if you're in a rough patch, you're not alone. It is always okay to reach out for professional help. I love helping long-term couples who want to stick through it together, build both emotional intimacy and reignite sexual connection. A lot of times we need emotional communication. We need to say, hey, this makes me feel loved, or I actually feel super rejected, unwanted, and sad. We need to be able to have a safe place to talk about those emotions as a foundation for sexual intimacy, erotic connection, and expressing that sensuality together. So if you're struggling with low desire and sexual intimacy, I would love to support you. And if you're looking to revitalize emotional intimacy, I would love to support you as well. Having time set aside each week for couples counseling or relationship coaching can be so incredible for greater emotional and sexual intimacy in your long-term relationship. I offer weekly sessions, twice a week sessions, and I do 3-day marriage boot camp retreats. So the 3-day retreats are an intensive where you get 18 hours over 3 days to really fuel and give attention to and give energy to your long-term relationship, which may have been put on the back burner for years. So over the course of 3 days, I help you harness the power of vulnerability, really explore what eroticism means, talk about strategies for healthier communication. We cope with past hurts and we overcome resentments together. You can learn mindfulness practices for learning how to be in the present moment and connect to your breathing you can use and transfer into erotic moments to really more fully enjoy sexual pleasure. We talk about love, what it meant to be loved as a child, what love means now. And really, generally in these 3-day retreats and in relationship coaching sessions with me, I help you build a strong and healthy couple bubble so that you can feel secure, you can feel a sense of reassurance, and you can also feel this foundation for essentially sexual excitement and sexual arousal and rebuild desire. So if you're looking to get started with me, get that support, someone in your corner to help your relationship thrive, you can head over to wisdomwithinct.com. That's wisdomwithinct.com, and I would love to support you. I am a certified sex therapy informed professional, Gottman level 2 trained marriage specialist, relationship coach, and I specialize with couples who are in long-term connections that need help with emotional closeness and communicating about feelings and sexual desire and sexual intimacy. And if you enjoyed this podcast, I would love it if you scrolled down to Spotify or to Apple Podcasts and left a 5-star review. And you can even leave on Spotify a couple takeaways or nuggets of knowledge that you want to take away from this podcast episode in the comment or the poll section. And that helps me get a good idea of what you enjoyed and also lets other people browsing podcasts see what you enjoyed from the podcast. You can share this episode with a friend, loved one, or family member that you would like to also maybe talk about this and have some cognitive or intellectual intimacy from this podcast, talk about it together after both listening to it and discover what you both kind of enjoyed about it. And I am just so grateful for you being a listener of this podcast. And it was just absolutely just so wonderful to talk about this today. And I just want you to know that it's okay to talk about your feelings. It's awesome to talk about sex in your relationship. I hope that you feel a sense of encouragement from this podcast to start opening that sense of intimacy, both emotionally and sexually in your relationship.